Hello students, welcome to the second part of the economic importance of bacteria and fungi. So let's start. So we were discussing like how the bacteria are useful. Okay, they can be a good antibiotic, they can be a good serum, and can be used for making up the vaccine as well. At the same period of a time, this bacteria also plays an important role in the field of the agriculture as well. Okay, see a special category of bacteria. Okay, a special category of bacteria which is present in the nodules of the root. Okay, that name is rhizobium. So see, it's an objective based question. Okay, which bacteria is present in the nodules of the root? So they are the rhizobium. See these nodules we can see out here. What is the function of this bacteria? See, as we know that part very well, whenever we wanted to cultivate any of the trees, plants, or something like that, okay, crops. So it is always beneficial to have a sufficient amount of a nitrogen inside the soil. If there is a sufficient amount of a nitrogen inside that soil, so it becomes very easy for the plants to grow. So same period of a time, the function of this special bacteria, whose name is rhizobium, they provide them sufficient amount of nitrogen inside the soil, and this helps to grow them perfectly. So that is why farmers, whenever farmers wanted to cultivate any of the crops, before cultivating any of the crops, they always cultivate the pea plant. Why they always cultivate the pea plant before growing the actual one? Because pea plant helps to give up the sufficient amount of nitrogen, and pea is quite nutritious in nature, and as it provides the soil the sufficient amount of a nitrogen, so it becomes very easy for the other plants to grow over there, because now the soil is enriched in nitrogen. Now see, this is the nitrifying bacteria. What do you mean by the word nitrifying bacteria? Word nitrifying bacteria means providing up the nitrogen to the root nodules. See, what first happens is, see, whenever you have often seen this part that the farmers make the use of the fertilizers. What is the function of these fertilizers? The function of these fertilizers is to provide them the sufficient amount of nutrition to the soil and makes the plants grow fast. Okay, see what happens in any of the fertilizers. Okay, there is always the ammonia compound, that is NH3. This NH3 is directly not absorbed by these plants. Okay, so what happens to this part? First, the ammonia gets converted into nitrites. Okay, then nitrites gets converted into the nitrates. See, the procedure is, now one would be thinking, okay, first there was ammonia, then it got converted into the nitrites, and then it got converted into nitrates. So see, when the ammonia got converted into the nitrite, it was with the help of a special bacteria, okay, which is known as the Nitrosomonas. See, these words of bacteria are very important. That is the Nitrosomonas. When this ammonia gets converted into the nitrite with the help of this Nitrosomonas bacteria, it gets further breakdown by a special bacteria that is called Nitrobacter. Okay, and where does this Nitrobacter works? From nitrites to nitrates. When these nitrites get converted into a nitrates through a bacteria called the Nitrobacter, it helps to provide them the sufficient amount of a nitrogen to the soil. And since now the plant got the sufficient amount of a nitrogen, now it becomes very easy for the plants to grow. Okay, so what was the procedure? Ammonia, where ammonia was present inside the soil, that got converted into the nitrite with the nitrosomonas bacter, and that nitrite got converted into nitrates through a nitrobacter bacteria. So this whole procedure is known as the nitrifying bacteria, because this bacteria was providing them the nitrogen. And if you would notice, this is a basically nitrogen cycle. Now one would be thinking, see, our earth, our atmosphere of earth, around 78 or 75% is made up of the nitrogen only. As this 75 to 78% of the atmosphere is made up of this nitrogen, if all the nitrogen in the atmosphere would be used by these plants, so there would be no nitrogen left in the atmosphere. So how it is possible to survive without nitrogen? See what happens. The procedures continue from here only, from nitrates. See, this nitrates is easily soluble by the plants. When the plants get the high amount of a nitrogen, the plant may get die. So the plant should not get die. So what happens is, see, the plant should not get die. So what happens, okay, when the plant goes die, so at that period of a time, it releases the extra amount of a nitrogen. Okay, it tries to release the extra amount of a nitrogen into the atmosphere. When this plant does, when it releases the extra amount of a nitrogen, at that particular period of a time, there is an sufficient amount of availability of nitrogen in the atmosphere as well then. So there is a sufficient amount of a nitrogen which is made available by these plants, because plant is going to absorb the sufficient amount of a nitrogen. Excess amount of a nitrogen will be again get converted into nitrogen with the help of one special bacteria that is called denitrifying bacteria. Denitrifying bacteria. So there are two bacteria. One is the nitrifying bacteria, which helps to provide the nitrogen to the plants, and the other one is the denitrifying bacteria, which provides the nitrogen to the atmosphere, so that the atmosphere is balanced. There is a sufficient amount of the nitrogen present in the plants, as well as there is a sufficient amount of a nitrogen present in the atmosphere as well. So where does this nitrogen come from? From the dead plants and animals, because our body is made up of proteins, and the main element of protein is nitrogen. So whenever any of the plants or animals die, they provide the nitrogen to the atmosphere. This is the way how the atmosphere get this amount of the nitrogen. Now, bacteria role in industries. As we have studied about the agriculture part, now we are going to discuss about the industrial related part. See, flavoring of tea and leather tanning. First, flavoring of tea. Have you ever heard about the grape tea or strawberry tea? Strawberry tea. How the strawberry teas are made? See, what is the procedure? First, I am going to explain you the procedures. See, whenever any of the farmers cultivate up the tea plant, okay, the tea leaves first get boiled. Okay, when the tea leaves get boiled or steam up, at that period of a time, it get dried up. Okay, when these tea leaves get boiled, so they ultimately get, okay, when they get boiled, so at that period of a time, any of the bacteria or any of the dirt which is present get removed, because we have boiling, and then these tea leaves get dried. When these tea leaves get dried, at that particular period of a time, there are the bacteria which acts upon them. What is the function of this bacteria? The function of this bacteria is to break the tea leaves into the much smaller form. Okay, the tea leaves get small in size. As the tea leaves get small in size, then again it is get dried up in the sun, so that the bacteria which are present on the tea leaves get died, because we got the small amount of the tea leaves. And when these tea leaves get converted into the small size, so we need a strawberry juice that should be get extracted. When we get that strawberry juice, with the help strawberry juice, okay, plus that tea leaves makes a strawberry tea. Strawberry juice plus tea leaves makes a strawberry tea. So this helps to give up the flavoring of the tea. This term is called the tea curing. Tea currying. So tea currying is a process in which a tea is getting a flavor. Now the second one is leather tanning. Now what do you mean by the word leather tanning? See, whenever we often use up the leather products like belt, okay, shoe and all, which is made up of a pure leather. It is made with the hide of the animal skin. Okay, hide of the animal skin. Now what is the function of this? See, understand it perfectly. Leather tanning, hide of animal skin. See, whenever any of the animal dies, so it produces up the foul smell, means the smell is very bad. When this foul smell, see, when any of the animal get dead, so it produces that foul smell. But in original, like leather belt, okay, or in watches, if you smell that belt or watches belt, so it does not it does not produce a bad odor, it does not produce a foul smell. So how it is possible, how this foul smell has been removed? Through this bacteria, because a special bacteria, you don't have to learn the name of that bacteria, a special bacteria acts upon this foul smell, which absorbs this smell, which absorbs the smell. And when this smell is absorbed by that bacteria, all the smell, okay, all the smell of that hide goes away, and then it is made available for making up this leather products. So this process is called the leather tanning. Now spoilage of food by bacteria. See, we have often seen up the special tinned and sealed foods. Tinned and sealed food. They are the closed container food, okay. If they get exposed, if they remain closed for a longer period of a time, they are very harmful. So that is why if you read the ingredients, okay, and below the ingredients they always write best before 6 months. Why they often mention this word? Because they wanted to tell that after 6 months, okay, you can use this product for around 6 months. After using, okay, after the 6 months get over, this product will become harmful. Okay, why become it harmful? Because it contains of that special kind of a bacteria which causes the food poisoning. That bacteria name is botulism. The word is made because this is a one marker. Okay, so which is the bacteria which is present in the tinned and the sealed food which causes the food poison? That is the botulism. Now food preservative methods. How we can keep our food in a more preserved way? Okay, how we can preserve our food so that no bacteria or no enzymes or no fungus should grow on this. Boiling, because you have often seen this part, okay, in people during the rainy seasons boil up their water. Why? Because any of the bacteria, okay, or any of the viruses which are present on the water should not enter into our body, because at the high degree of temperature the bacteria die. Boiling or heating at a high temperature is also called as the word sterilization, because here sterilization means inactive. Here the bacteria or the viruses becomes inactive. The second technique is called salting method. Salting is a common method of preserving food like fish and pickles. Okay, you have often seen this part. Okay, if we keep directly in the refrigerator, it may spoil up. Okay, so what they does, in order to preserve up the fish, they put a salt on this so that no microorganism should grow on them. Then the dehydration. Most microbes cannot grow without water. Okay, most of the microbes cannot grow without water. Dehydration means what? Without water. So dehydration is another method, means you have to keep the things dry. If you are going to keep the things dry, so that no bacteria will grow on them and your product won't get damaged. Irradiation is not that important because this is not a successful technique. Now the refrigerator part. See, pasteurization part. Pasteurization is a technique of partial sterilization applied usually to milk. See, this first and the last technique is same only, but boiling comes for the water part and pasteurization comes for the milk part. So you have often seen this part whenever we bring up the milk at our home. So your mom often boils up the milk so that it does not get damaged. Refrigeration. What do you mean by the word refrigeration? To cool up any of the products. There is a certain amount of a temperature where the bacteria can grow. Okay, the bacteria can't grow at a certain amount. Where? When there is a below freezing point. Okay, below freezing point. What is the freezing point of water? That is around 0 degrees Celsius. So below 0 degrees Celsius, these microorganisms cannot grow. So that is why usually if we see most of the things we keep in our refrigerator so that it does not get spoiled, like especially the fruits and vegetables I'm talking about, or the fish and water, many of the things we keep. Strong concentration in chemicals. Have you noticed that jams and pickles does not get spoiled for a longer period of a time? Jams and pickles, because see, jams are sweet in taste, so what, it has a huge amount of a sugar concentration, and pickles are sour in taste because they have a high content of salt inside them. See, as the jams have a lot amount of sugar and pickles have a lot amount of the salt, they can damage, right? But they have some preservatives. Okay, they have some preservatives that does not kills up this that does not spoil up these jams and pickles. This chemical is called sodium benzoate, which is added to the tin food, the foods which are close. Sodium, to just remember this name, benzoate. This sodium benzoate is a strong chemical which helps to keep up the tin food and the squash food perfectly, like jams and pickles, for a longer period of a time. Now some of the bacterial disease in plants. See, in plants there are two types of a bacterial disease, like black rot of mustard and cauliflower, and lobia, that is in a cowpea. In animals they cause up the two diseases, that is called the anthrax and the other one is TB. What is this anthrax? In which the animal bodies get swelled up and reduce milk. When the milk get reduced, okay, so that cow is not now useful, okay, so it get die, because if the cow stops to produce of that milk, so it may get die and the body becomes swell. And TB, it occurs in human as well, and it occurs in animals as well, where lungs get affected lungs get affected, and which is often accompanied by dry husky cough. Okay, the cough is quite dry, so that your mouth becomes affected. Okay, your mouth become dry. And in humans there are many: whooping cough, pneumonia, TB, cholera, etc. Many of the examples are there. Now what do you mean by bioweapons? See, anthrax. Now we have discussed about the anthrax part. What was anthrax? It caused up the swelling and reduced the milk yield. This is a germ bomb. This bioweapon means a germ bomb. When get exploded, it gets widely spread. Okay, it gets widely spread and can cause death generation after generation. Like right now in a today's scenario, how the corona is spreading. So corona is nothing but a bioweapon only, which has been used by the China. And what is the main aim of this bioweapon? Without using any arms, without using any guns, without using any guns, missiles, anything, they affected the whole, not whole, entire world by spreading the corona. So corona is basically nothing but a bioweapon only in an easier term, because no weapons have been used, only a disease has been spread. Now the next part. Now this was all about the bacteria. Now we are going to discuss about the economic importance of the fungi. See, fungi are something very different than the bacteria, because this fungi got a special class. Okay, it got a special kingdom. Now this is basically a structure. Okay, this is a structure of a mold. And what is a mold? Mold is nothing but a fungus only. Okay, there are different types of fungus. One is the mold. This is the structure of a mold whose name is Rhizopus. Okay, so you can see up the structures out here. So I'm going to give an example to understand in a more better way. See, we have know about the breads. Okay, when we bring the bread from the market, see, whenever we bring up bread from the market and we eat them, okay, but few breads which are left, which we store in the refrigerator so that it does not get spoiled. But if your refrigerator is dirty, it's not clean, it is, so what happens to that bread? We can see a black color organisms grows on them. You have often seen this part where the pores means the holes of the bread get expanded. So you have seen this condition in the bread. This condition occurs when the bread becomes stale. When the bread becomes stale, at that particular period of a time, it loses up its sponginess and the organisms grows on them. Okay, and they make that bread damage. So who are those? They are nothing but they are the fungus only. See, this black color structure, this black color whole structure is called the mycelium. If we clearly watch up this mycelium structure in the microscopic view, we are going to see like this. See, this is the structure. This whole structure, the whole circle is nothing but the mycelium only. If we see up the thread like structure, see here there are structure which is forming like a root, thread like structure, it is called the hyphae. Okay, this is the hyphae. Then a stalk like structure is called sporangophore, which is erected. Okay, and this sporangophore, above that sporangophore there is a swollen tip. We can see these circles out here. This is called the sporangium. Okay, when the sporangium gets up, and what is there inside this sporangium? See this part in C. When this sporangium, what is there inside this sporangium? There are the spores which are present. When this sporangium get up the favorable condition, it gets rupture out of that sporangium and releases up that spores. What is the function of these spores? The function of these spores is to spread and helps in the reproduction through asexual method. See, in bacteria also there was a method that is asexual. In fungi also there was a method of asexual only. But in bacteria there was a binary fission which were taking place, that is the cell division. But in this there is a spore formation. Okay, reproduction through spore formation method. So let's take a revised through look. Thread-like structure called the hyphae. The erected portion here, okay, here is called sporangiophore. Swollen tip is called sporangium. Inside that sporangium there are more of spores. When they get a favorable condition, they get rupture and helps to cultivate up the new plant. And the whole structure is called the mycelium. Now, how the bacteria was useful, the same like that, the fungi are also that useful. Because role in industries, this fungi are very useful in making of the wine, baking part, cheese processing, mushroom cultivation, everywhere it has been used. Let's understand first for the wine part. First for the wine part. See, how the wine is made? It is made with the help of grapes. Why it is made with the help of grapes? Because this grape consists of glucose. Now, what is the formula of glucose? C6H12O6. Okay, when this bacteria does not get a sufficient amount of oxygen, I mean to say anaerobically, they act upon this glucose and they get converted into ethyl alcohol, that is C2H5OH, plus carbon dioxide gas plus ATP is released, which is the production of the energy. See, when the glucose, okay, we keep this glucose in a barrel. Barrel means a big container, inside which we are kept the grapes, and inside that container we have kept the bacteria, and we have closed the lid part. Okay, we have closed the container. So what happens, that bacteria was working upon this glucose and have broken down into ethyl alcohol plus carbon dioxide plus energy was releasing, and this ethyl alcohol, it's now fit for the human consumption. Okay, the function of this ethyl alcohol, I mean to say this alcohol part, is it get easily absorbed. Okay, it is easily absorbed. If you drink up the wine in a limited quantity, so it is not harmful also. In fact, it provides you with the boosting energy, but in a little quantity, not in excess quantity. But if you drink up this alcohol in excess quantity, your liver may get damaged. So this is useful also and harmful also. Baking. What are the ingredients which are needed for baking part? See, if we look at the bread part, suppose this is a bread which contains of the small pores, if we closely observe. But how these pores are given? Suppose, what are basic items that are needed? We need a flour, oil, water and salt, which helps to make dough. When this dough is made, at that particular period of a time, when this dough is made, suppose this is a dough. If you look dough carefully, so there are no pores, but with the help of this dough only we are going to make a bread, cakes, something like that. Okay, they contain of the pores. How that pores get converted? Dough does not contain any pores, but bread contains. How it is possible? Because a special bacteria is added which is called yeast. Okay, and that yeast ferment this dough, and when we bake up this dough part and convert into bread, so it releases carbon dioxide. And what is this carbon dioxide? This carbon dioxide helps to give up the sponginess, that is the softness, and the pores get created so that they can respire easily. It also helps in conversion of cheese, okay, and mushroom. How the cheese gets converted? First I'm going to take milk, I'm going to add some bacteria which is known as the lactobacillus, which you have already studied in your 8th standard, lactobacillus, which gets converted into curd. And when it gets converted into the curd, what we are going to do? We are going to add some salt to it. Okay. When this what is this curd? Curd is semi-solid in nature. So in this part, semi-solid. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to use up a salt. When I'm going to use up this salt, at that period of a time, it will get converted into cottage cheese. What is cottage cheese? That is paneer. Okay. Paneer. Why we were adding this salt? Because the function of the salt is to absorb of the moisture which is present in the curd. Okay, as I said, the word is semi-solid, means it was including of water also. So this water was getting absorbed by this salt and got converted into this cottage cheese. When this cottage cheese was converted, now it becomes ripen up. Okay, it becomes more thick, and as it becomes more thick, it helps to get converted into a proper cheese. Mushrooms. See, mushroom cultivation part is not there in your syllabus, but this mushroom can be also converted. Okay, there are some mushrooms which are quite useful for the humans. Their names are white button mushrooms, which are white in color, white button mushroom. There are two types of mushroom. One is the harmful and one is the useful. I am writing about the useful ones because they should be useful. Okay, white button mushroom. The second one is the paddy straw mushroom, and the third one is the oyster mushroom. So you should remember only 2-3 names. There are, as we have discussed now about the useful part, now let's discuss something about the harmful part as well then. Who are the harmful fungi? These are the penicillium and aspergillus. Okay, that is the penicillium and aspergillus. What are they? They are the two different kinds of molds. What is the function of these molds? The function of these molds are they grow on the oranges. Okay, they grow on the citrus fruit. What do you mean by citrus fruits? Like orange, lemon, okay, which are sour in taste, are called as the citrus fruits. So you can see this part. If there is an orange, if you have seen this part, a green color organisms always grows on the orange, which get rotten up. So just remember these two names, that is penicillium and aspergillus. See, process of cheese has been discussed with you. Curdling. Curd is process, means how to remove the moisture and all. Then the salting, so that no microorganism should grow. And ripening means to bake, so that it gets a firm shape and all. Edible mushroom means what? The mushrooms which are quite useful. That is white button mushroom, paddy straw mushroom, and oyster mushroom. Now see how to distinguish between an edible and a harmful mushroom. See, edible mushrooms are those mushrooms which are easily available in the market. The mushrooms which are available in the markets are healthy. Okay, they are edible in nature, means healthy in nature, and they are easily consumable. But harmful mushrooms are those which we found on the jungle side. Okay, they are quite harmful. So one should always prefer to take the mushrooms from the market. Nutritive importance of mushrooms. Why we should have a mushroom in our diet? Why we should include of this mushroom part? Because they are excellent source of vitamins and proteins and minerals, and at the same period of a time they contain a good amount of a niacin, pantothenic, and biotin. What are niacin, pantothenic, and biotin? They are nothing but the vitamins only. They are the names of vitamins, because vitamins have been classified into two parts, right? B and C. So this niacin, pantothenic, and biotin all are related to the vitamin B part. So this was the part 2 of economic importance of bacteria and fungi. Thank you, students.